I'm Amy Fisher. Today I am with Connie Weatherby, who is a park ranger with the Division of Interpretation of the National Park Service at Sandy Hook, which is part of the National Gateway Recreation Area. Connie, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
You're very welcome.
Now we're at Fort Hancock, which is part of Sandy Hook. So let's start with this. Tell us this area that we're in right now.
Where we're located is Fort Hancock, which was the housing area for the United States Army's Coastal Defenses Division here on Sandy Hook. The soldiers needed a place to live so that they could maintain the guns that were defending the entrance to New York Harbor.
When was Fort Hancock built?
It was established in 1895, and just about all of the yellow brick buildings were constructed between 1898 and 1910.
And then when did it close as an Army base?
The Army actually closed down in December of 1974, and the property was transferred over to the National Park Service.
When was the Gateway National Recreation Area established?
Gateway National Recreation Area was actually established in 1972 with an act of Congress, and that legislation said that when Fort Hancock closed in 1974, that Sandy Hook would then be brought into Gateway National Recreation Area.
And what does it include besides Sandy Hook?
Gateway includes 3 different units. There's the New Jersey unit here in Sandy Hook. There's the Staten Island unit, which includes Great Kills and Fort Wadsworth and Miller Field. And then there's the Jamaica Bay unit, which includes Floyd Bennett Field, the Jamaica Bay Wildlife Refuge, Reese Park, Fort Tilden, all of that area.
So it's very large.
It's a very large park.
Behind us is the lighthouse that is a wonderful lighthouse. Could you tell us about that?
We love our lighthouse. This is the Sandy Hook Lighthouse. It's the oldest operating lighthouse in the United States. It was constructed in 1764 and has been in almost continuous operation since then.
This division of interpretation that you're in, I think that's very interesting. What exactly does that mean?
The Division of Interpretation identifies me as an education ranger as opposed to a law enforcement ranger, for example. We are responsible for interpreting the park story. And in any national park in the United States that you go to, the interpretive park rangers are telling the park story. They're talking about the education programs, it's talking with children and families.
Well, Sandy Hook obviously is known as a beach area, and it's a wonderful beach area, but there are so many other things going on, and that's what we want to talk to you about. What can you do in Sandy Hook if you don't go to the beach?
There's lots of things to do if you're not coming to the beach. We have lots of programs in the afternoons and in the evenings. We have a beach concert series every Wednesday night through the end of August. It starts at 6 o'clock. We have a variety of evening programs, including history walks and some natural history walks going out talking about the salt marsh or about the dunes. We have a couple of daytime activities. We go seining with family groups, which is going out adjacent to the salt marsh and collecting fish and nets and talking about the salt marsh and wetlands. We have a junior ranger program on Friday afternoons that's by reservation for kids between the ages of 7 and 12.
Now, Sandy Hook is open all year round?
Sandy Hook is open year-round from sunrise to sunset. In the summertime, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, we do charge a beach parking fee. So for folks who are actually going to the beach, they need to pay to park the car. But if they're coming to Fort Hancock, there's no charge.
And what about fishing?
Fishermen are allowed to come out from sunrise to sunset, and there are some restrictions in the summertime because of the beaches. And if fishermen want to come out after sunset, they can get a nighttime fishing permit from us.
Do they have to pay a parking fee?
In the daytime, if they're parking in one of our beach parking lots, yes, they do. And then the nighttime parking fee is a year-round. It starts in January through December, $25 for the nighttime parking permit, fishing permit.
What about how people know about these kinds of things? Can they look at your website?
Very definitely. We do have a website. It's www.nps for National Park Service .gov/GATE.
Now let's talk a little bit more about Fort Hancock. Besides, this is the firehouse that we're standing in front of. What other buildings are here?
We have a variety of buildings, some of which are actually open to the public. Our museum building, which is open in the summertime every afternoon from 1 to 5 o'clock in July and August. That was the post guardhouse. That was the jail. We also have one of the officer row houses, which is open on the weekends from 1 to 5. There are barracks buildings that are not open to the public, but which people can see when they come out. Sergeant's quarters, there was a PX, there was a library, there was the YMCA, there was a bakery. All of these different buildings created what was actually a small community that would have had all of the services that any town would have had.
Does anyone live here now?
National Park Service personnel do live here. We live in some of the duplexes, and then there's the Coast Guard base at the tip, and the Coast Guard personnel have that area.
The Coast Guard actually uses this lighthouse for a navigation aid?
That's correct. Sandy Hook Light is still a navigational aid for the entrance to New York Harbor and is listed on the Coast Guard maps. It's a 24-hour fixed light, which means the light just goes 24 hours a day. And if you were to look at it in the daytime from the right angle, you can see that the light is on.
Well, tell us a little bit about the lighthouse over the years.
The lighthouse was constructed in 1764 by the merchants of New York. They got really tired of their merchant ships wrecking off the Jersey shore, so they actually had a lottery to raise money to build the tower. And when it was completed in 1764, it was standing right where it is today. Over time, the lighthouse has stayed put, and Sandy Hook has grown 1.5 miles, so that's why it's landlocked and not next to the water. Sandy Hook is a barrier peninsula, and what that means is that the offshore currents, known as longshore current and the littoral drift, actually move sand from South Jersey north onto Sandy Hook. And what that does is it creates sand movement that just grows and grows and grows as the sand moves north, and Sandy Hook has grown.
Quite amazing.
I'd like to point out that the lighthouse is open on the weekends from 12 to 4:30, and this summer it'll also be open on Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8. And if folks want to climb the tower, they need to come out and sign up for a tour because we don't take advance reservations, and the children need to be 48 inches tall.
Where do they sign up?
They sign up right here in the Keeper's Quarters, which is the building right in front of the lighthouse. That was the Lighthouse Keeper's Quarters, and it's open during tour hours.
Does the lighthouse keeper live there?
No, no one lives there. It's a museum now. It's actually maintained by the New Jersey Lighthouse Society, who again are partners with the National Park Service. They're the folks who actually give our lighthouse tours.
How many steps to the top?
It's 100 feet.
Wow, that's a long climb on a hot summer day.
It's a very long climb, but it's an excellent view from the top of the tower when it's a nice clear day.
I see in the building right across the street from us, there's Brookdale College Environmental Studies. What do they do there?
This is Monmouth County's community college, and they have both a college course of marine science, plus they have a K-12 program called the Ocean Institute, and school kids will come out during the school year and go out sailing with some of the staff.
Behind the Audubon Society, there's a building that you had said was recently constructed. What's in there?
I think you're talking about the NOAA Laboratory, which is a building that was constructed just about 8 years ago for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in conjunction with the state of New Jersey. They're one of our partners out here, and they actually use one of the old barracks buildings as an office, but because their laboratory burned down in 1985, they were given permission to construct a new building, which was built to look similar to our barracks buildings. They used yellow brick and the same green trim that we use in our buildings. And they have a giant fish tank in there, which is a research tank. It's not open to the public.
Now, you have a Friends of Sandy Hook. Everybody has to have a friend. Tell us about that group.
The Sandy Hook Foundation was established to be a friends group for Sandy Hook, and they work with us on a variety of projects. Their main object is to support the National Park Service, and they do that by restoring buildings. For example, they restored the Post Theater, and now they're going to be working on restoring the Keeper's Quarters, which is the building behind us. They're going to be moving their offices in there and working with the New Jersey Lighthouse Society to restore that building. They sponsor the concert series, and they also help support other interpretive activities out here. They're a wonderful resource for us.
Here we are with Scott Barnes, who is a teacher naturalist at the Sandy Hook Bird Observatory that's run by the New Jersey Audubon Society. Scott, tell us a little bit about what you do here.
Okay, I'm a teacher naturalist here with New Jersey Audubon Society. A lot of what I do is interpretive programming, and the interpretive programming ranges, audiences from programs out at schools as low as, at kindergarten age, through a lot of adult programs that we run here. A lot of them are outdoor-oriented programs, but we do offer some workshops and things on subjects like bird identification, hawk migration, butterfly identification, native plants, gardening, those sorts of things. We also do cooperative programming with the National Park Service. We run one free bird walk a month, and from time to time we also run some other special events, all of which are advertised in Gateway's calendar of events. We also occasionally do some programming off of Sandy Hook for different audiences as well. This fall we'll be running a series of 4 programs highlighting some natural areas along the south shore of Raritan Bay from Union Beach up through South Amboy. And we have in the spring a Migration Watch, which is a research and interpretive program that we run here at the north end of Sandy Hook. At the observation deck, and that's free and open to the public 7 days a week. We pay a person to count migratory birds that are flying by Sandy Hook.
What kind of birds are in the area that people would be able to see when they come to visit?
Well, right now in the summertime we have several pairs of ospreys, which are a large fish-eating hawk that nest out here on Sandy Hook, including one actually about 3 buildings down on top of an old chimney. There's lots of herons and egrets. There are long-legged wading birds around this time of year. But there are birds to see here at Sandy Hook year-round. Sandy Hook has a list of probably 330 plus species of birds that have been recorded here in about the last 30 years or so. But we also have lots of other wildlife. We have excellent monarch butterfly migration in the fall during September and October. The wintertime, this is actually a very good place to see harbor seals. You could sometimes see them right out in the bay here with their heads just bobbing up above the water as they breathe. And there's lots of butterflies, and there's lots of other wildlife here.
So this is a great place for people of all ages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of our Park Service walks, we have a lot of families that come on them, so we'll sometimes have grade school age children with parents or grandparents, and we love having people of all ages come on our programs.
Scott, this is the New Jersey Audubon Society's building here at Sandy Hook. What's inside?
On the downstairs floor, we have a large selection of natural history books in our bookstore. We also sell optical equipment, usually specifically for looking at birds or butterflies. A lot of our natural history information and brochures and other pamphlets we give out on different subject matters are here. It's the base of where we run a lot of our programs and operations from. The exterior here is the beginning of our butterfly garden, which we'll also have as an interpretive program that we'll offer once the garden is established. And it's also always free for people to come and look at whenever they're out at Sandy Hook.
Do you have a telephone number people can reach you for information?
Sure, it's 732-872-2500, and you can also email us at shbo@njaudubon.org or visit our website, which is www.njaudubon.org.
That's great. I just want to ask you before we finish, how long have you been doing this job?
I've worked for New Jersey Audubon for almost 7 years, and I've had a lifelong interest in the outdoors and natural history. So it was an avocation before it became a vocation.
Oh, that's great, and it's certainly a beautiful place to work.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's wonderful to come out here and say, hey, I actually work out here. Great views, and it's a great place.
And you're here all year round?
We're open all year, yes.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about the concerts that you have on Wednesday evenings? What kind of music and how can you get here?
The concert series is a wonderful tradition that we've had going for several summers now. They're sponsored by our Friends Group, the Sandy Hook Foundation, and they start at 6 o'clock and they have a different band every Wednesday night. Last Wednesday we had a 50s and 60s band. Tonight is a Caribbean band. We'll have a salsa band. We'll have Tim McClune will be out here a couple of times with his Americana band. There's Booty Shack kind of music. It's a real variety. Folks can come out anytime. The beach is open until sunset, and if they want to bring their supper in a picnic basket, with plastic or aluminum soda cans. They're welcome to come on out and have their supper on the beach and listen to music.
That runs through August?
Through the end of August. And again, the concert schedule will be on the website.
I imagine this is a great place for school trips.
We get a lot of school children. In fact, we have a variety of partners out here who do a lot of school programming in the spring and in the fall. They take the kids out seining, which is looking for the fish. They also take the kids on dune walks, and they do some really wonderful marine science programming.
My name is Tom, and I'm a U.S. Park Ranger at Sandy Hook. I work in interpretation, which means that I interpret history. I tell you about history, explain it to you so you understand the history of Sandy Hook, and I also explain natural history. So today I'm going to be doing natural history, and this is Marianne, and she's an intern here at Sandy Hook. She's also going to be helping me out. And we work about 50-50 on this program, so she's actually going to take over from here.
All right, hi, I'm Marianne, like Tom said. We're out here going to be seining today at Sandy Hook. And right here where we are is the salt marsh at Sandy Hook. It's really a unique environment here. What the salt marsh is, it's a type of wetland. Well, what a wetland is, it's a body of water that comes in and out, so it has like tides, kind of. And here at Sandy Hook, the salt marsh is, it has salt water in it. So it comes from the ocean, the tides come in and out of it, and it creates little tidal pools. And that's what we're going to be seining in, this water over here. You can see there's the beach kind of juts out, and there's a tidal pool in it. And these are really important. Wetlands are really important because that's where all of the marine life kind of accumulates and kind of starts out. That's where a lot of marine life, hatches their eggs and stuff, and it's where a lot of the life starts out. So it's a really, really abundant, has a lot of different marine life here, and hopefully we'll get to see a bunch of different things when we catch in our nets. In the salt marsh here and in wetlands, there's a lot of little plankton, which is really tiny little animals and plants that we're not even going to be able to see. You have to use a microscope to see them. But they accumulate here in the tidal pools, and then the little fish come and eat those. The bigger fish come later and can eat those. So we're going to see a lot of smaller fish, hopefully, some crabs, and we're going to see a lot of algae too. So you can think about how it all ties in together. And when we get further down, you might be able to see there's an osprey nest across the way. Do you guys know what an osprey is? Yeah? A bird? Yeah, it's a really big bird. And it's probably on the top of the food chain here at the salt marsh. So it's one of the top things that eats all the fish here. So you can see it all kind of ties together. And make sure if you're going to pick up a fish that your hands are wet before you pick them up.
Right, because they have a protective coating.
Yeah.
You don't want to take that off. And if you see a crab and you know how to pick one up, you can do it. You pick it up from behind. Otherwise, Marianne is our crab picking up expert, and she'll pick them up.
But maybe not blue crabs, because they're
They
kind of dangerous.
Yeah. Also, we might, just so you know, we might see something that we can't identify right away because we don't know every fish here. And we do have field guides here, so we don't know. Just give us a chance to look it up, and we'll do that. Okay, when you have your net unrolled, you want the floaters on the top. These are floaters. And you want the weights on the bottom. You can see there are lead weights on here. Right here. You want that on the bottom. And when we walk out, what you want to do is you want to drag it out when you get out there. You're going to drag it back. You want to tilt it like this so that the bottom of the pole points towards the land. And you're going to walk back, and you're going to it'll trap fish and stuff in the bottom of the net. The net will actually go like this, and it'll catch fish from the bottom. When you come out of the water, you lift your net up like this, and you put it flat down on the ground. You don't want to bring it too high up. You want to keep it where it's still kind of wet, so the fish don't die. And that way you can look at the fish. We'll show you how to empty out the net and all that. All right, there are snails in here. You guys want to come over and see what we caught? We didn't catch too much. We got a little bit. We got a lot of shrimp though. We got like half a dozen shrimp.
Yeah, shrimp that you eat kind of shrimp up for Jersey? I never thought you could do that.
Yeah, but these aren't big enough.
Yeah, but I mean, they grow that size?
Yep. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna empty out the net. We're gonna bring it back in. We're gonna empty it out so that all the animals inside get out and they keep, stay alive. And then we're gonna roll our nets back up and we're gonna walk across the boardwalk over there in just a minute because we should be able to get a lot more over there.
I got a baby crab!
Then you get some water and then you go like this.
Ooh, there it is! Me and my dad caught fish! I found another crab! Me and my dad caught lots of fish! Oh, look! There's one of our fish!
We got, I think the man called them silverbacks. Look, here's a shrimp. Here's shrimp.
Wow, look at that. What else is on this other stuff? That's got a lot of fish.
Whoa! Crab, big crab.
Oh, you found a blue claw.
Wow!
13 eyes.
Oh, they got into a school of those silverfish over there.
We got a jellyfish!
Mom, we had
Here.
Connie, we met you in the Visitor Center, which is a beautiful old house. What was that originally?
It's actually a United States Life-Saving Service station. It was built in 1894 for the surfmen of the United States Life-Saving Service, who were the predecessor to our modern Coast Guard. These were the guys who rescued people from sinking ships offshore in the 19th century. And what we have now in the building is exhibits about the Life-Saving Service, as well as some habitat exhibits about Sandy Hook, and certainly we have a small bookstore and lots of information about what to do.
And everyone who works in there is a park ranger?
Actually, I have park ranger staff, but I also have some interns who are volunteering for me for the summertime. They work with the Student Conservation Association, and I've got 2 interns who are working with me through the middle of August.
You have a lot of connections with a lot of groups. I think that's fascinating.
Partnerships is one of our major thrusts these days. The more and more the National Park Service is looking for partnerships and looking to be able to do programming with a variety of other people and not just ourselves.
One thing I wanted to ask you is, what is the capacity of the beaches here?
We have 4,500 car spaces, so multiply that out. How many people can you get into a vehicle? We figure there's about 10 to 12,000 people out here on a really busy summer Sunday or Saturday afternoon. To be very honest, we do close on weekends when the park fills up. We have to close down when the parking lots are full.
So you advise people to get here early?
They need to come on a weekend. They need to come before 10 o'clock in the morning. I would say 9:30. Or if they want to come after 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon, it's wonderful because all of the people who've been on the beach are now hot. They're going home, and the beaches are actually pretty empty on the afternoon, and it's wonderful. And weekdays are great.
Now, this summer you have a unique program going on involving people who are visiting from Italy. What's happening with them?
This is the Memoria Project. A local resident from Monmouth County went to school in Italy and learned to be a stone carver. He learned to actually make marble statues. And what he decided to do was to create 2 statues that will eventually be put up somewhere in Monmouth County, hopefully viewing New York City, because these 2 statues are going to be a memorial to the 9/11 event. And what he did was he brought in 2 Italian stone carvers who are working this summer under a tent here on Sandy Hook to create these 2 statues, which will then be moved to their final location.
Tell us how long you have been a park ranger.
I've been a park ranger for 22 years, and I've been here on Sandy Hook for 12 years.
It is a wonderful community, I think.
Well, we enjoy working here. It's a really unique area, and it's a nice diverse area with both natural features as well as a lot of historical cultural interests.